Warning: the following content contains language that may be inappropriate for younger viewers. Viewer discretion is strongly advised.
Welcome back to the Let's Get Heavy podcast, the home of riffs, roots, and raw conversations. Today we are diving into the Merry Doomsday, the new era of Sanguis Mortem, a record that sounds like the end of the world and the celebration that follows. Before we get into it, I want to say a massive thank you for helping us reach 1,000 subscribers. That is absolutely huge for us, but some of you may know this is maybe already coming, but 77.5% of you are still not subscribed. If you could help us out greatly, it only takes a second and it helps this channel out to keep us bringing you bands straight to you. So without further ado, folks, welcome you to the Let's Get Heavy podcast, where we like to highlight bands and just try and spread a little bit of positivity throughout the world of rock and metal. And if you not know, my name's Stevie from Get Heavy UK. Cheers very much for giving up your free evening to have a bit of a chin wag with myself. We are here because we want to discuss the album that you've recently dropped, I believe on the 13th of March, Merry Doomsday. But before we get into that, for those who may not know who Sanguis Mortem is yet, can we have an introduction of each member, going from left to right, your roles within the band as well, please?
Right, I'm Nick and I'm the guitarist.
I'm Ollie, I'm the drummer.
I'm Aidan and I'm the bassist.
And I'm Tig, I'm the vocalist.
Nice to meet you guys. So again, for those who are new to discovering Sanguis Mortem, could you describe just a little bit of your brief history about the band, how you came to be, what made you want to pursue thrash metal?
Oh, yeah.
So I was studying acting, and in secondary school I was doing one of the school shows. That particular year, it was We Will Rock You. So, of course, loads of Queen songs, and you actually had the band on stage. And then one day I was coming in for rehearsals. I think I was early or something. And then I saw both Nick and Ollie, I think, were just warming up. They were also the only two people in the band. But I was walking past and I heard Nick playing Battery by Metallica. And, of course, I was into that music by that point. Exactly. And I walked past and just thought, hold up. And of course, then I went over to him and I saw he had a Warlock guitar, and I was like, oh, okay. And we started talking about that kind of music, and then of course Ollie pipes up, he's in the back and he's going, I like that music as well. And then he started playing like Pantera or something on the drum.
Yeah. And
then of course, then we started getting into like a whole discussion about it that just carried on for a while, all throughout rehearsals as well. And then I think it was, you were just saying, oh, Ollie and I decided to have like a jam session one last time. Why don't you come over? And I was like, sure. We spoke, had a jam session, decided to obviously keep doing it, and then at some point there was like a decision, you know what, fuck it, why don't we just form a band? And then, from there it's just, it's blown up, and eventually he came along.
At some point. It doesn't really matter when, you just need to know he came along.
Yeah, and it's just, I know, it's blown up into like such amazing proportions. Like, the way how far we've come, it's absolutely incredible.
And you said also why thrash metal. I think, especially when you were just getting into metal, we were I was maybe 13 when we started this band. It's always, you start with the Metallica's, Megadeths of it. That's always the sort of route. At least it was for me, and I want to say Ollie as well, and Ty in some proportion too. So it was just, that's where our love for metal really came from, and really we were pretty early on into our sort of metal journey at that point, so we sort of wanted to follow those idols of ours in their footsteps, playing music.
I'd say as well, I think for me personally, as much as I'm a big metal, heavy metal lover, but I adore metalcore, and yes, a lot of the more modern bands, but at the same time I'd argue, obviously, with the bands like Metallica and Megadeth and all of them, when they first started off, obviously thrash wasn't necessarily either well known or something. Obviously they're revolutionized. I would argue that thrash as a genre just has all of the great elements of like metal as a genre. You know, it's got like the riffs, it's got all the solos, it's got this like the heaviness and the speed. And I just think that obviously now there's a whole big metalcore thing, but at the same time, I think thrash is also making a bit of an uprising.
Mhm.
And so I think we wanted to obviously be part of that and also, like bring back thrash. However, adding our own twist, almost like combining modern elements as well as some of the old ones.
I couldn't have said it better there, personally. What you just said about thrash metal, it kind of blends like the majority of stuff together and what you like. I mean, I love all forms of metal. I'm not a gatekeeper at the end of the day. I love it all. If it's got a fucking sick, tasty riff, I'm all for it. I don't care what category of subgenre it wants to put it in. I absolutely love it. But there is just something about thrash. I don't know what it is. The riffs, guitar solos, just the breakdowns, just anything. I want more. Just cover
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
covers. That's all it is basically for me. But yeah, I totally get it. Very well said. But a little side question: you said you were an actor. Does that help when it comes to a live setting? Out of curiosity, do you
It
become a
does.
character on a live stage? Out of curiosity.
Yeah, it does actually. As a matter of fact, it's funny you should mention that because we've got this thing called I mean, it's due in May in my university, but we've actually got to write like it's almost a professional context thing. So it can be about anything you want, has to be 3,000 words and so on. But for me, it's I decided to combine obviously the fact that I'm a singer and an actor. I'm going to write about how, how can metal music help an actor, I think, get into a certain zone because I think as well, lots of people that I know that aren't metalheads, I fully understand if metal music isn't your thing. But at the same time, when I hear comments like, "Oh, it's just noise," "Oh, it's just screaming," "Oh, how can you just listen to that?" and I think there's so much you don't know. It's not all just heaviness. You've got, as I said, you've got Sabaton, where all the songs that, yes, they can be about cheesy or like, about victories in war, but it sounds so uplifting. It's amazing. You've got Dio who had the voice of a fucking angel. You had, so many different subgenres and so many different emotions. Like I've experienced every emotion under the sun listening to different bands, and yeah, I think especially on stage, performing a character, obviously it helps. But yeah, as soon as you perform the music, I've always just been like, I don't know if you've ever seen Jack Black in a film or him on stage as Tenacious D, he goes over the top. That's how I've always been listening to music. I can't play guitar for shit, but I'll whip out the air guitar any day, and I love it.
That's what's up. I have been lucky enough to see Jack Black live, and you are 100% correct. He is that larger in life character. Um, but I do feel like it's a separate, even though you see Jack Black as the actor, he's different when he's on stage with Tenacious D at the same time as well. But that's pretty cool. That's pretty interesting how that comes to be. And are you releasing that publicly? That thesis that you're talking about there about how heavy metal can help an actor sort of thing, get into the right frame of mind.
I do believe that I think if you both if you want to, and of course if it's really admired and the teachers and the lecturers think it's really good, I'm pretty sure, yeah, it can get published publicly at some point.
Cool.
So,
That'd be probably pretty cool. Interesting read.
yeah, I definitely think so.
So, apologies. See, this is what I'm talking about. Tangents, talking bollocks. Apologies. Anywho, back onto the subject of Sanguis Mortem. So, what bands would you say are the key influences to Sanguis Mortem?
We just get
See-
each of us. Yeah.
Yeah, we can do, but I think I want to sort of introduce this as like a bit of a strange topic for us because it's like you're gonna hear so many like different bands and stuff, but a lot of them aren't gonna be something you can directly hear in our sound, just because our sound is so broad and we've sort of worked so hard to make it so distinguishable and our own that all these bands we've sort of taken elements from. But it's a bit of a weird one because as much as we have bands that we love, I don't feel like we have any like, yeah, that's the influence for this album or something. Like it's not as cutthroat as that for us. But anyway, should we sort of take it in a lounge from time?
Yeah, I think like for me, again, I don't say like influences per se because one thing that I think that I really really like about us is that you'll have certain bands which have a certain look about them, like Ghost or something, instantly makes them stand out. They all look the same. They have a certain way of playing. I think for us, as Nick was saying, we don't like we've all got our favorite bands, or we have like a band that we think, oh, this riff is slightly inspired by this, or if we have a new song, you might go, oh, sounds a bit Megadethy or whatever it is. But we all have, like, I think, different, I'd say, influences. Like when we have a look, like obviously it's not everything you like, but Nick loves punk. Like when he perform, he has the mohawk, he's always like, constantly exploited and so on. Aiden's really into glam. He'll be there with his leather trousers and so on, and 5 groupies behind him. No, I'm joking. Yeah. But
I'm getting Steel Panther vibes right now. I don't know why.
like,
I just get Steel Panther vibes right now.
yeah, we all like so many different parts, and I just think it's so cool to have a combination. And we just, as soon as you start writing, we'll just go, this sounds good, we like this or this. We don't instantly think, oh, this isn't necessarily thrash. That's why I think I'd say we're mainly thrash, but we love to branch off so much that we just don't care if we fit into a certain thing. But for me personally, I love heavy metal. I love metalcore a lot. I really like melodic elements in songs. I literally I speak about it non-stop. But I'd say heavy metal and metalcore I love. But then again, I also love heavier stuff. I love Lamb of God. I love any other bands like you. I love a huge broad spectrum.
Couldn't agree more, man.
Yeah, I'm sort of similar. I quite like broad spectrum metal. I came into sort of when I first started music, not really into metal. I hated it. I wanted to be a DJ. I wanted to play drum and bass, and it was that was the style I was going for until I ended up just somehow getting into metal. And it was mainly the heavy rock and the glam. I love Van Halen, Wasp, Cinderella, Motley Crue, Steel Panther. They're like biggest inspirations for me. And
You've just named my dad's entire catalogue of music right now.
Perfect. But yeah, I base sort of my whole sort of look on sort of glam, and also sort of the way I play bass as well. Like even some of the ways I sort of write my bass lines, I base it off sort of like glam, and I will use little different techniques. And so I do enjoy glam. It's definitely my top favorite genre.
I think for me, honestly, it's a bit of everything. I mean, not only metal as well. So I started listening to like a lot of jazz and music from the 50s and 60s. Like I moved up through the rock and roll. I'm like massively into Led Zeppelin. But now I'm really into kind of the thrash stuff, so I love Power Trip. I like the new kind of wave of death metal, so folksy. But anything. I would listen to anything really.
Yeah.
Do you feel that the jazz element changed your music, has helped you? Because am I right? You're the drums, aren't you?
Yeah.
Am I correct? Yeah. So do you feel like having that jazz background helps with playing the thrash element? Does that make sense?
I mean, they're very different, but I feel like you can really, especially because we've got some slower songs. We've got a ballad on the album, which I'm sure we'll talk about later.
Mm-hmm.
But you can really like incorporate, different ways of playing into these songs from like all of the genres to listen to, not just jazz. And I'm really happy that I've gone through that like stage of listening to so many different genres, because I think it's helpful.
Yeah, and for me, I think the music that really, because you can sort of, I say this a lot, this sort of phrase, you can listen to music, but you can also live music. And I think what made me really live music was the punk stuff, like Crass, Exploited, like that sort of stuff, like a lot of the street punk, Oi, and then the crust stuff, and that whole sort of area. So so you can hear that a lot, like in our lyrics, we have a lot of very political, sort of politically charged songs and whatnot. But again, like when it comes to our sound, I always try to lean in like combining the old school and the modern. So you're going to hear a lot of like Sylosis, maybe sort of inspired stuff there. Bleed From Within is a big influence in my playing. But then you're also going to hear the sort of Slayery, power trippy, Municipal Waste riffs as well. It's like there's such a broad spectrum. I think as we've gone down the line of influences, you can sort of see that from all of us. There's such a large sort of like surface area of music for us between each other. So it's not really, we can't really like pinpoint. It's difficult for us to pinpoint like certain influences.
We were just, I think, as long as we're labelled as a metal band, we're fine. That's it.
That's all that matters. I just want to be fucking metal, man. Sorry, I should have asked at the very beginning. What part of the UK are you based in?
Bournemouth.
Bournemouth, right?
Yeah.
Nice, cool.
Can't get more than
What is the metal scene like in Bournemouth?
You know what? It's like
It's pretty decent.
it's pretty decent. Like it's very like youth driven actually. So like a lot of the college people and stuff that will come down to our shows. You've got some great venues as well. I mean the Bear Cave, the Anvil. When you go to when you're going for the larger venues, places like the old fire station. These are all pretty good venues, pretty like famous venues. So yeah, the O2, yeah.
I'd like to think it's a really good community that's down here because it's not the biggest scene in the world, but everyone knows everyone.
It's tight
and
knit,
it's just like one big friend group, and I just think it's got a really cool feeling and vibe to it down here.
Yeah, it's very tight knit, yeah.
Nice. Well, the primary reason why we are here tonight, gentlemen, is because you've released, obviously, Merry Doomsday, which is an absolute sick name, by the way. Can I say Merry Doomsday? What sparked the idea, and what does it represent for you as a band?
I'll start with this one, maybe. What does it represent? I think it really represents the culmination of the past 3 years of work and like the initial journey. Like a lot of bands will sit down to write an album and they'll write it all in a couple like months, maybe sometimes weeks or days, really. And it'll be all this sort of like snapshot of one time. With our album, we sort of wrote it over the past 3 years. I mean, there's some songs that we wrote literally 2024. They were released. Obviously, we've taken down some of the original singles now, but some of these songs are written in 2023, 2024. So it's really like I think that's one of the things what makes this album so good, in my opinion, is that it's got such good variation because it's been written in different time periods, in different times of our lives, in different times of even just stuff as basic as what we were listening to at that point. Like it's such a it sort of just represents that journey over the past 3 years for us.
Anyone else want to add on?
I mean, I was pretty much going to say the same thing. I think
Yeah, pretty much.
Thing with every band, but like as if say for example, if a band releases an album within a few months and so on, of course, it would still be a great album and so on, but not all of the time would the writing of the album necessarily be like a journey, if that makes sense. Whereas this whole process has been it's been a great journey for us.
Yeah.
It's definitely I think set a solid foundation for obviously what we also want to achieve in the future and obviously build up on as well. We've got that punk element, like we're obviously all part of pretty much the same generation, all very, very young. Yet at the same time, we also want to write music that one obviously connects with people. It can be relatable to people. It can obviously really make people enjoy the music and have fun. And at the same time, we want to be like, we're a young generation, but we know what's going on and our opinions of the world about what's going on. We want to be able to, project that in our music. The whole purpose of metal as well. It's a form of release.
You mentioned.
I'm digging the vibe here, guys. I mean, the passion. It's absolutely insane. It's absolutely a breath of fresh air to see, man. Honestly. But sorry, I cut you off. My apologies.
It's okay. You asked what inspired the album. I can speak for myself. I'm not sure about everyone else, but I think we were just jamming and writing these songs, and one day we sort of like, fuck it, why don't we create an album? So there's no real I don't know, it's not like a big story behind why we decided to create this album, but I just think it's something that's came from our hearts, and it's been, like Nick said, it's been 3 years of work, and genuinely it's been the coolest progression I think we've ever had, because we have no idea what the fuck we're doing. So a lot of the songs we recorded in 2023 even, obviously we can't chuck them on the album because the production's completely different, so we've had to re-record them. But in the process of re-recording them, we've added new bits. You know, we've edited them slightly. And
The songs have grown with us as well.
Yeah.
Like some of these songs that maybe were performed slightly differently when they were originally written because we didn't have maybe the technical capabilities we do now. They've grown with us and they've sort of all come together really nicely. And the main thing for me is just it's been awesome closing off this chapter of our journey. I mean, like I said, even
it's not closed yet though, because
we've
still got this album. Believe it.
Yeah.
That's it.
But like that whole sort of segment building up to the album, those whole 3 years, it feels so good to sort of have that out now and be able to say, yeah, we completed this. We completed this album. That's that done.
No, yeah. So you finished the recording cycle part, but now you've got the fun part. You've got the touring. You've got all the shows that you do, man. You have to support this album now for the next 2 to 3 years or whatever it is that you're going to do. Got all the fun stuff now, man. But was there a specific moment or even a feeling that set the whole concept in motion for this album?
I don't know.
What? So like, ooh. I mean, definitely a big thing when it comes to like lyrical stuff. It was just a feeling of frustration with how the world's going, with the state of the world right now, and that's very apparent in our lyrics. I mean, even the title "Merry Doomsday" is sort of a sarcastic play on, I mean, nuclear warfare. It's a very sort of blunt and difficult topic that we've put a sort of sarcastic play on it because it's sort of us saying how big of a joke the world is right now.
Well, I could not disagree with you.
I think
it's an absolute mad time that we're living in at the moment.
So
Especially with the conflicts in Iran and whatnot, blah blah blah. So yeah, man, honestly,
So we've just sort of this album has been our way of sort of processing that and going, right, this is what we think, that it's our time to speak up now.
And hopefully listeners will also see that as well. Will actually feel that and understand and have the same sort of like basically take away the same sort of thing that you guys are trying to portray. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, couldn't agree more, man.
Yeah.
And the title mixes celebration with a bit of catastrophicness and how intentional is this contrast?
I think it was a pretty intentional concept. We sort of wanted to have that catastrophe, but like in the title, but sort of in a sarcastic, sort of playful manner. So we sort of really wanted to hammer home the concept and the sort of the reality of how close we are to sort of doomsday, if you will, because I think it's one thing just saying it. It's one thing just going, oh, like naming the album like Nuclear Fallout or something. That's one thing. But when you really put it in that sort of joking, sarcastic manner, it comes to light how like really how big of a joke the world is really, and how close we are to something catastrophic here.
It gets people thinking.
Yeah.
Thought progressive. That makes sense. That's what I was going with as well. But other than the nuclear side with Doomsday, are there any other themes that Merry Doomsday connect or identify with Sanguis Mortem?
Obviously throughout we've got pretty sure it's every single song. So yeah, we've got a mixture. So a lot of the songs will be about, as Nick was saying, it'll be like politically related, or sometimes we include like religion in there. Obviously, it's never like anti-politics or anti-religion or anything like that. But I think we just try to like bring to light, obviously, some parts. You know, obviously most of them can be obviously negative, seeing as the situation of the world right now. But you know, we've got songs about that. We've got one song which is all about community. Like literally, we decided to write a song for the audience, for them to just be able to raise their fists and shout and enjoy themselves.
Ooh, what's that song called? I'm interested. What's that song called?
Brotherhood.
Brother, of course, it's got to be Brother. Sorry, go on.
But we've got we've got like a large diversity, and of course the very last song on the album.
Second last.
Oh yeah, it's second last song on the album is a ballad. So I've always had the idea, I think, especially when we'd made sure, that we'd established that we wanted to have like a full album. I was instantly starting to think, okay, so in an album we have the songs, that are in our style and so on, but at the same time it's always good to have variety, make sure not every song sounds the same. So some songs will be softer than others and so on. But it's almost a definitely have to have at least one ballad, thrown in there, or it's one softer song. And I think, especially for the first album, this ballad especially, I wrote. It's not necessarily a dedication, but it's definitely in memory. So, my dad passed away from cancer when I was 14,
Oh wow.
and so and when we were thinking about writing songs, and because he was the one as well that introduced me, I think similar to Ollie, I went through the whole journey of like he introduced me to Queen, and then I started doing my own research, got into Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin, and did my own research all the way through Iron Maiden, all the way through Metallica, and so on. And I think it was especially after he passed when I started getting into like the heavier stuff, and I discovered what a fucking whirlwind of emotions that metal is, and how all of the songs will really hit hard, whether it's grief, whether it's addiction, whether it's mental health, whether it's whatever. And so I just thought, now that I'm in a band, now that I'm actually we're writing music, I think, there's no better opportunity than to actually write a song. So I wrote the song, it's about grief as a whole. So, I'm just hoping if someone listens to it, they can relate to it on some level. And I just think, well, especially for me, obviously, because I wrote it and because of my situation, but it just holds so much meaning to me. And I think a lot of people that have actually listened to the album so far have also said that it's, usually almost all the time it's one of the favorites.
I mean, some people have even said, I had someone come up to me the other day at a gig, said, oh, I love the ballad, and I've only just realised like the meaning and the story behind this song, and I want to go listen to it again because I feel like it will have so much more power knowing sort of the background of it. And I completely agree because I feel like music can, if you know sort of the story, no matter even if it's like sort of a sad story or it's more of an uplifting story, if you know the background of the song, it makes it so much better.
I love that, and I love that. Thank you, and thank you very much for sharing about the passing of your father. I know it's not easy to talk about such matters, and I'm right there with you because I also lost my father to cancer as well. So, fuck cancer, by the way. And like I say, I know we've just met for the first time tonight, so to share that with someone you've just met, thank you so much. I can more love to you because I know it's not easy to share. So, and I tell everyone to never be silent with stuff like this. Reach out to somebody to talk to somebody, etc. So, more power to you, my dudes. Thank you for sharing that. Is the album telling one overarching story, or is there more a collection of apocalyptic snapshots?
I think it's definitely more leaning towards that kind of collection aspect. Like we've got every sort of song covers a slightly different theme. Obviously, without the outliers, like for example, "Still With Me," which is the ballad, and "Brotherhood," which is a song about sort of community. If we're sort of looking purely at the politically charged sort of, if you want to go with the apocalyptic side of things, then I mean it's sort of just each song puts into perspective sort of a different aspect. So we have a song called "Imbalance of Power," which is about colonization, and it's inspired a lot by the crimes of King Leopold of Belgium in Congo, and that sort of side of things. So again, that sort of historical inspiration. And then obviously Merry Doomsday, which is primarily about nuclear fallout. But all of the songs are sort of, I'd like to say they're more a collection of, like you said, individual snapshots of an apocalyptic reality. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And overall, how does the album push your sound forward compared to anything previous that you have done?
It definitely has that sort of further mix of all of our influences, and even as you go down the album, like if you were to know which songs were written a bit earlier, so like "Merry Doomsday" is definitely one of the ones that was written a bit earlier. You might hear some more of that Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, that sort of more, you can sort of hear the influences individually, but as you go towards the newer songs, so maybe songs like Sport Kill, Divinity, Draconia, some of our newer tracks, they're definitely a much purer mix of everything. It's just all sort of collided together, and you can just see as that songwriting changes. I'm not even going to say necessarily improves or declines, because that's up to the listener to judge, but it changes. And again, that's one of the things that I like about this album. It takes you through that journey of us 3 years ago, first sort of starting out with these influences in mind, and then slowly developing our own sound. So it's that sort of collective, that gradual progression.
I think it's also because, I mean, I don't know, obviously can't speak from experience with other bands if they do the same thing, but it's like, I'd say for me personally, definitely, and I'd say it's probably the same for you guys. My favorite part, and a lot of things, is when we do songwriting. Like, I absolutely adore the whole process of just one day either receiving a message from Nick, or we've got into something and it's like, oh, I've got a riff idea, and I listen to it and I think, fuck me, this sounds awesome. And I was like, right, let's do it. Let's work on it. And then it's like, I'll instantly start like thinking, right, let's think of a structure. Let's think of like, I don't know, some rough lyrics to work on. And then, we'll have like some rough bass or rough drum idea, show it to the others, and they think, oh, like this, or let's change this. They'll come up with their own parts, and then just watching that whole process of a song coming together. And I just think, like, obviously we did that a lot with this album. Yes, as Nick was saying, there's a whole journey of like seeing the influences, seeing how the music changes. But I think it's just because we just love focusing, I think, on the joy of the songwriting itself. We don't focus on, oh, this doesn't sound like us, or oh, this doesn't sound thrash, oh, this doesn't sound this. We like listening to something, think, yes, this fits. Yes, we love the sound of it. It sounds good to us. It sounds good to the people, to our audience. That's all we care about. We don't care about fitting to a certain, or like falling into a certain place.
On that subject of the songwriting that you have mentioned there, what tends to come first then for yourselves? Is it a lyric, or does a song title come in your head, or a riff, a drum beat? What normally comes first for you then to build on from there?
Usually,
it'll probably be a riff most of the time, and we build on that. But then again, sometimes we end up doing stuff the inverse way, where Ty will send me a lyric idea, and he'll send me some voice messages of how he thinks it should be sung, and I'll sort of think about it. So it varies, but normally it comes with a riff idea. But then we have a song called Draconia on our album, which started with drums. Ollie played a cool sort of Gojira inspired sort of it was like a weird polyrhythmic sort of drum beat, and we sort of worked from there. So it sort of just depends who has the idea, and we sort of build from there.
Another thing we've done to write the songs is Nick will just come around my house and we'll just jam and just sort of see whatever comes out in the moment. And I don't know what songs have been written that way, but
Merry Doomsday was written that way.
Yeah, a few of them have been written that way, and I think that's a really fun way of doing it as well. I want to do that more in the next album. It's fun.
So, was there any new techniques that you have tried shaping this writing? They're shaping the writing of this album.
I think there's a lot of like development of our skills, like prior to the recording of the album, I was really working on my double kick. So I was literally just sat in my room for hours, just double kicking. I don't even know what the word is for that, practicing it. But and when we recorded the album before that, I'd never been able to play this one part. It's in the song Hydra. It's my favourite song. It's really good. But I'd never been able to play that, and I'd always wanted to. But from practicing it, I finally managed to play it on the recording, which is really lucky. And now I can play it every night. We play it. So, there's a lot of just development of skills, and I think from 3 years ago to now, we've like all improved an insane amount, and I'm really proud of that.
Yeah, and when you talk about the recording process as well, something that eventually sped it up a lot, because at one point we were sort of slowly coming out with a song every couple months, but then we sort of booked the recording session for a couple months later, and we were like, okay, there's 3-4 more songs we need to sort of finish. We have ideas for them, but they're not done. And a lot something that helped a lot was just, for example, me sitting at my computer and going on like a DAW software and just writing and just playing along to it, seeing what goes next, and then taking that to practice and going from there. It just sped it up a lot, because as well, if you can, mix down something off a DAW and send it on the group chat, everyone can go, I like this, I don't like this, and you sort of cut out loads of time that would be at practice. You cut out loads of time in the songwriting, and you sort of show up to practice with the almost finished product, and that saved us a lot of time.
So, what was the recording process like then for this record? Was it smooth? Did it feel, was it chaotic, or somewhere in between maybe?
It went quite well, to be honest. So we booked a sort of 3-day slot at Blue Line with an amazing producer, Luke Aris. We started off, obviously we wanted to get all these songs done. So the way we used to do it, we'd come to a recording, we'd have one song, it'd be one song per day basically. So this time we decided to do it slightly different and just get all the songs done so they're ready by the third day. So we started with drums and bass. We recorded all of that. Second day was just guitar, and then the third day was sort of lead vocals and then group vocals. And I'd say it went really smoothly, to be honest. It was a really good way of sort of getting everything recorded, and because of how experienced Luke is, he also just kept us really like sort of calm and chilled throughout the whole process.
Yeah, we would have been a lot more stressed.
Yeah, because even like we sort of ran out of time towards the end, but even with that, we still got like the majority done, and Luke only needed like a couple hours work just to finish it off. And
like post-production.
Yeah, it was stuff you could do at home, so it was really it went really well, and I did enjoy it all.
I think as well, like, from my past experience, even though in the past I'd only done like one song per day, I still think there were always some slight elements of, we don't have enough time, or this doesn't sound right, can you redo it? Whereas oddly enough, on the one where we had 13 songs to do in 3 days, it always just felt, I don't know, it always just felt really, really chill. Like, we had moments where it'd be like, oh, now it's time to do group vocals or something. And then we'd go in there, I don't know, laughing about something, or I don't know, one of us makes a joke. There was always that chill atmosphere.
That bloody video you made.
Yeah, probably. I went outside to sleep in his car. That's it's just it was just moments of I think one or two brief moments of slight nervousness regarding time.
It was surprisingly chill on the whole.
Yeah, but for the most part, it was just a really, really enjoyable experience. I think it's because as well we all knew how to play the songs. We all knew this would be our first album.
We were ready for it.
Yeah, and how it would sound. We were ready for it, and we just more or less anything, just nervous excitement. You were like, "Come on, let's go, let's get it done."
And was this the first time you have used a producer for any recording?
No, we've done stuff with the same producer for a couple of our singles, but like we said, we sort of did that 8 hours for one song, so it was a lot more laid back.
Yeah.
And
so handy having Luke, because you'll know the band, of course. You'll know kind of what you are trying to go for, as well as trying to push the band to its maximum potential, basically, as well.
So that definitely, again, one, saved us a lot of time and was very reassuring that he knew what we were going for. He wasn't trying to, push against us or anything. He knew exactly what we were going for, and he was trying to help us get to the same place we were getting. We were all heading in the same direction.
Well, what was nice as well is that before I was in the band, when the original sort of music was recorded, we had Snake's Mantra, which isn't a part of the album, it's more of a single, which is the first song that was released. And then Merry Doomsday, pretty sure you guys told me that was recorded in a couple of hours?
2 hours, something like that.
And it was, I couldn't even dream, because I studied production at college and going to uni studying production as well. I couldn't dream of recording a whole song in the space of 2 hours.
So Luke is just a rock star when it comes to production.
He's such a good producer. So yeah, we do love him.
Yeah.
Shout out, Luke.
Yeah.
Did I also hear you right? You've recorded 13 songs in 3 days.
I think it was 8 songs in 3 days.
Yeah.
2 of them were intro, 3 of them had been recorded beforehand. So but 8 songs in 3 days, it was still quite the challenge. Yeah.
that was going to be my next one. My next question: did you come across, or was there anything challenging in this recording? But 8 songs in 3 days, that must have been a challenge in itself.
I'll tell you what, my Jackson guitar was the biggest challenge for me.
Rose.
This is the second interview in a row. I think we're going to say there goes any chance of a Jackson endorsement after this. But oh my God,
Well, you cannot say that until we're not. You cannot elaborate. So, what you talking about? Why are you not going to get an endorsement by Jackson?
We had the Floyd Rose on one of the guitars, and because we went to retune between some of the songs, it kept going out of tune. I swear I nearly threw it across the room. But I was like, no, I need to keep calm. I need to just record these final 2 tracks or something and then go home, whatever.
That's some good videos.
But you didn't fling it across the room. So how is that not going to get you a Jackson endorsement? If anything, you saved that Jackson's life. Therefore, Jackson should be giving you a fucking endorsement.
Yeah, he should be endorsing me for the fact they didn't destroy the guitar.
In fact, your signal would be like extra thick body, so it
It comes with a free hard case.
Jackson guitar just in half.
Oh, Jackson guitars. If you're fucking watching this back, endorse Sanguis Mortem. No, man. If not, they're just gonna fuck off to ESP. So you'll.
I'd say like for me, obviously, I think back to like what Ollie was saying in terms of development of skills. I think the only challenge for me was obviously because I knew I'd have to do so much singing in the course of one day. I'd just be telling myself, don't get sick, preserve your voice and do all this. But then I'm like, but I study acting, and obviously one of the things that we do is singing, and of course all about projection and theatre and so on. So I had to deal with that, and then of course I think in singing they don't necessarily teach you how to sing. It's mainly just like staying in key and so on. So I've never actually had a singing lesson in my life. So I'm like, okay, I need to find out how to do like a proper warm up. And then of course, what happens? I actually get sick. So I'll turn up on the day of the recording, going, guys, I've got a frog in my throat, but I'll try my best. So I'm there trying to do warm ups, drinking so much water, drowning myself in vocal zone tablets. Like, I need to try and get this done. But then, of course, like in the final process, I was still obviously really, really happy. And any kind of, if my voice decided to falter at all, Luke was just in there like fixed. So you can fix all the shit, basically. But no, overall, I think it was just it was a great performance.
Did you experiment with any new sounds? Maybe did you incorporate any of your other backgrounds, so your punk background, your jazz, maybe even some drum and bass? Did you try anything new?
We have one track, Sport Kill, where we have that more punky element. It's more sort of a D beat sort of riff, and then we have on a track called Tyrannus, we have we utilise Ty's excellent violin skills. So we have some violin in the intro. So yeah, when we do have an influence and we're sort of eager to try it, we normally do explore that because it's something that, again, gives our music more depth and makes it more original and unique.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like thrash metal drum and bass sounds pretty gnarly.
We become the thrash electric cool boy.
Hey, why not? Thrash dubstep, get it done. Why not? Could be honest with there, lads. You never know. A new sound.
Bad idea.
We should do a cover of a Prodigy song.
This is just for timestamp purposes. This is fucking copyright. Anyone nicks this idea, Sanguis will fucking sue yous. So how do you approach anyway balancing heaviness with clarity in the final mix of this album?
Luke does that.
That's just Luke. He does all that crap.
He does all of that.
We need an ear, to be honest.
Well, when you say, what do you mean when you say clarity in the final mix? So
like you put me on the spot now, mate. Fucking hell. Just done a 12-hour shift. Put it into basically like just keep it more like having it more clean and polished. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely the style that we do the vocals in. Often we'll have clean vocals over what you would normally imagine would be like, a screamy or growly section. But
But
you'll
at
have,
the same time, you don't want it over polished because you still want to keep that rawness.
you want to keep
Yeah,
the
yeah.
grit of it. But
Aye.
a lot of the time, what definitely helps us is the fact that the instrumental section is definitely sort of on the heavy side, but we might have, clean sort of melodic vocals, and it sort of balances each other out. And
Because
obviously,
you've also got your power ballad as well. So
yeah,
you know
exactly.
Because how do you because what we're having like 7 songs of just pure head banging. Our necks are fucking broken. We're gonna be in A&E because we've got bang over the following morning. And then you bring out this chilled, relaxed power ballad. Do you know what I mean? So how do you balance all this together?
Don't know.
I think it's quite literally just a mixture of, I guess you could say, influences, but also just the we love having the variety and not being, as you said, like not having, or when we write songs, making sure that not every single one sounds the same or sound. It's like the same thing of like people are like, formulas work in songwriting. You have to have exactly 2 verses. You have to have a chorus. You have to have this. You have to have this. Like obviously we stick to a certain song structure, but at the same time, it's just not the end of the world.
We like to roam free a little bit.
Yeah, we're not too focused on that. So obviously we like having variation on it. We'll sometimes just be like, okay, we'll have 1 or 2 songs that are particularly heavy, maybe one that's really, really heavy, and then this one will be like, a lot more melodic, or this one will have elements of both. I think that's it. We just like almost like ticking all the boxes. We like including a lot of different things.
Yeah, and you spoke about the sort of the track list in general. How do we sort of balance that out and sort of deal with those sort of big changes? I think what I'd say to that is when we write a collection of songs, whether that's an EP, an album, we like it to take the listener through an emotional journey. We don't want, for example, say this album's got 13 tracks. We wouldn't want 13 tracks with the same vibe because we like the idea of that sort of journey, just like we went through the songwriting journey. We want the listener to sort of experience that as well. So we like to have, our tracks in one obviously written and 2 structured like in an order in the track list in a way where it can take the listener through some sort of journey.
So, a question for each member really: if there was a song on the album that has pushed your playing the furthest, your vocalist, your drumming, if it's pushed you the furthest, what song would you choose?
For me, it's the closer, Hydra. What I spoke about with the double kick. It's just a really difficult song to play on drums for me, but I'm really happy with what I managed to achieve. But also, Draconia is for a very different reason, but like it's such a complicated song structure-wise. There's so many different parts to it and different. I don't even know what time signature it's in half the time, but like
It isn't.
It's like 0 times signature.
yeah. But like with that one, you have to be so like mentally on it, and then the Hydra's so physical. But I think those 2 for me are the most difficult.
Mine are definitely sort of the same as Ollie's. When I first started learning bass, well, I'll be honest, even like I've never had a bass lesson in my life. I'm all very just self-taught, just by playing songs I enjoy in college. So when we started writing songs like Draconia and when Nick showed me how to play Hydra the first time, they were just like, wow, okay, this is a big step up. Because the main riffs, playing technical riffs fast was definitely a big challenge for me. Because like I said, I've had no lesson playing bass ever. Like all the skills I've learned playing bass have just been from playing like popular songs. So they were definitely the 2 most hardest, but the fact of me being able to sort of now play them is a big like achievement for me. So I'm sort of grateful for that as well.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, vocally, what would you
So
say?
for me, it's actually one of my favorite songs on the album. I would say Sport Kill because, I mean, obviously because it's melodic, but I think similar to Aiden, I'd never had any kind, as in I'm completely self-taught, I guess, when it comes to singing. I'd say I'm by no means like amazing or anything like that, but I think I've always been able to just like hold a tune or at least teach myself, because like when we were speaking about violin, I'm half Irish, so my Irish side of the family is like full of musicians, and I've done like, all stuff. And so a lot of them actually, even though they're incredible musicians and they all play folk music and so on, and we do sessions in pubs, because I was part of an orchestra for ages and I was always like forced to learn classical music when I just wanted to have fun. I remember as an experiment, I'd bring in a piece of sheet music from like, I don't know, some 17th century Hungarian dance and be like, can you see this? And then they'd look at it and they think, I can't read this. They can't read sheet music like at all. It's all by ear. And I think I just started developing that. And so I think similar to singing, I just try and make sure that I'm singing in key, and then I'd be like, that's basically just it. And so, I think for Sport Kill, one, obviously, I think it was as well, like, I think just discovering what kind of singer I am. I'd always been able to, like, my singing style is more similar, if anything, I guess you could say it's like an influence, is like the James Hetfield Metallica kind of, there's a bit of, obviously, there's grit in the voice, but also some melody. I've never been a screamo kind of guy. I can't, like, do proper screams or anything. I mean, I don't know how to, but also it's just never been my style. And so I think for Sport Kill, it has a mixture of both that kind of punky shouting, but like shouty verses. The chorus is quite high, and then of course there's two verses that are completely growled / screamed in the breakdown. So I think it's the song that's got the most vocal variation. Um, and yeah, I think it was just teaching myself, or like practicing to be able to, okay, chorus is up next. Let's belt it, and then straight into the growling for the chorus. It's like, learning or teaching myself a bit of breath control, a bit of being able to preserve my voice for both of those parts. And yeah, I think as well, like throughout this album, I literally learned how to growl, or taught myself how to growl halfway through the albums. Then I was like, okay, I can add this, and it gets better and easier obviously as time goes on. But again, yeah, just teaching myself these, these different techniques.
Yeah, and then for me, I think something that really pushed my writing capabilities and my technical capabilities was our ballads, Still With Me. I think that we rewrote that song so many times just because we wanted it to be absolutely perfect. Because obviously what it was honouring, it was quite important to us that we do a good job with it. And I'd never really been that interested before the idea of that ballad came around. I'd never been that interested in sort of experimenting with acoustic stuff. Maybe it was something that I was like, oh, one day in the future we might do that, but I'd never sort of thrown myself in the deep end and gone, let's go write an acoustic ballad. So when it came the time to do that, developing a melody for that and then matching that with sort of the power ballady heavy side of it, it definitely pushed my songwriting capabilities. But technically, I think the solo as well, was one of the solos that I really pushed myself on. Has a couple difficult like licks and phrases in there, so I think that song generally was probably the one I pushed myself on most.
So, did any member bring something unexpected that shaped this record?
Ooh. I think if we want to go back a while, then the violin is definitely a big shout. I mean, when we had met you, Ty, originally, we had no idea that you played violin. So then that came as quite a big revelation to us. And especially back then, we were like, we need to exploit that. We need to use that at some point. And that definitely added another layer of dimension. Obviously, it's only used on one track on this album, but we've got plans.
Yeah,
we've got plans to use it on more tracks as well. So it's definitely something that sort of came out of nowhere, but has sort of become an important part of our songwriting. Maybe not because it's super common, but it's just if we ever need an ace up our sleeve, then it's always there.
And was there any creative differences during the process? Any disagreements, and if there were, how did you resolve them?
There was a lot of disagreement.
There's a lot of.
I mean, one thing I ended up finding out, I can't even remember which song it was for now. It's got a very good, like, for Brotherhood, the riff is quite recognisable. And Nick would come up to me and be like, I've written this new riff. It's like, what do you think of this? I've gone, it's just Brotherhood. Like, it's the same song. You just changed one note. But there's a lot of stuff like that, and we did have a lot of disagreements. But in my experience of sort of writing music, disagreements are good, because if you're not going to have disagreements within a band, you end up like writing the wrong stuff, and it might not be to 100% of your capability. So it does help with that discussion of trying to push the best.
It helps with being a team. It helps with learning how to coexist with each other and not kill each other in the songwriting process, which is very important if you want to go far.
Yeah. I'd say as well with the whole process as well, like even since the very beginning, because you will have as well like those, I'd say those main influences are quite different. When you first start writing a song, like there'll be some elements that we like, but then it's like, oh, I can't really do that, or I'm not such a fan of that. And so not necessarily, there was never any serious arguments at all, but it'd mostly just be like slight butting of heads in terms of, I think, just preference of styles. But I think what was part of the development is also, discovering each other's strengths and areas where, like we were good. So whether it was guitar wise or whether it was like, oh, that doesn't fit with my vocals, because I can't either reach that high or I can't do that particular technique or whatever it was. And then I don't know, we'd always, I think, just discuss it, and we'd always, I think, it's almost like a voting system at this point. It's like, who likes this idea? Most of us do. And even if there's one person that disagrees, we still try to change that.
We'll help accommodate that.
Yeah, we'll try and change it to accommodate the other person, so the other person can kind of be like, okay, I'm satisfied with that. We never write a song, we'll never include something, I think, where one person doesn't like it, or is like, it doesn't enjoy the song at all. Except for Last Dance.
So going into how these songs transpire into a live setting, and of course you've been announced to play this year's Thrashchester, because that is an absolute fucking tasty lineup.
That would very excited for that one, yeah.
It is going to be sick, absolutely sick. I may even be in attendance. I might even.
That would be awesome, yeah.
May even have a drive from the tune. Just to see everyone in action, because it's going to be one hell of a show. That, and big shout out to the team at the 0161 Promotions, because they're absolutely amazing what they do with that festival. But how does Merry Doomsday change your live set?
Well, do you want to talk about your the sort of how we use the sample pads?
Yeah. So in Merry Doomsday, there's a sample of like a news report. I think it's from the end of World War II when they dropped the atomic bomb.
It was FDR, yeah.
Yeah. So I bought like a sample pad which I use on drums, so I can trigger that to come through front of house. And I think that's a really cool addition.
We use it quite a lot. We use it.
Yeah, we use it on Sport Kill and for the intros and stuff.
Yeah,
that's not exciting. But yeah, there's a lot of that, and I think also live we try and more recently as well, we're trying to get like a sort of look together. So we've got the black and red, we've got our banners now on stage. Aidan and Ty, you have your like makeup and paint.
Face paint. It's not
Nick, you've got your big mohawk. But
it's face paint, it's not makeup.
I promise.
How dare you?
But I think the thing I love most about a live show, is obviously I can't speak for anyone watching, is just the energy I kind of feel between us, and like it almost feels like we're one just big machine, just like pumping out songs, and I love it. And I think that's probably the highlight for me.
Yeah, and going off the intros, you were talking about the intros as well. A lot of them are sort of based around that Merry Doomsday theme, the sort of Doomsday nuclear fallout ideas as well. So obviously, if we're talking about like live set, as in like the songs we're playing and stuff, that is definitely a big part. But as in the album itself, with just the way we've written it, it's quite an energetic album. It's fast, heavy, groovy. So I think our live set just reflects that. I think we go absolutely ham on stage. We're very energetic on stage.
And we enjoy being on stage.
And we really love being on stage. It's the highlight of everything we do.
I was going to say, I was going to point that out next. I think especially compared to the very, very beginning. I remember the very first time we performed live. It wasn't the school one. But the very first time we performed live, I remember, like, for me especially, I mean, I had to spend, was it like 2 days, yeah, in the week leading up to it, I had to spend, I think, 3 days in school, 12 hours each for like rehearsal for like school shows or drama thing. And then we had 1 or 2 songs, which obviously new songs, which I hadn't learnt the lyrics for fully. And so by the time it got to the day, I was really tired, but I was so nervous, so nervous.
This was our first show, yeah. You
Yeah,
were
and so
nervous.
the very first time we went on stage, I mean, obviously, stage presence wasn't abysmal, but most of us were quite static. Me especially, I was in pieces. I was like, oh, it was right.
He almost refused to come out on stage.
And I think there was one point I think I did actually forget the lyrics, and I was like, kill me, no, Nick. And so, but I think, like, since then, especially now, like, considering how far we've come, how much we've learned, how much we love our songs, as soon as I think a song starts playing, I mean, it's just like,
yeah, we're in the zone, yeah.
There isn't any other fit, on stage we'll be headbanging, like, with each other. I don't know, we'll just be, I'll be putting out air guitar if it's during the solo or whatever. It's just, it goes to everything all the
I
time.
think we have a lot of fun as well. It's not all
Oh,
just
it's- yeah,
if someone makes a mistake, I mean, Nick will glare at me, but then we'll laugh about it like 2 seconds later. But I do think we have moments where we'll turn around and just laugh and smile, and I think it's just a really kind of
Positive.
It's not too serious where it's not fun.
Good environment to be.
Yeah,
It's
it's
really
not.
fun.
It's not tense. Like, if someone screws up, we're not going to have a massive go at them normally. But
I think the only point is, like, during a sound check or something, for Nick especially, he'll always be saying, "Where are my pedals? Where are my pedals? Why is this working? Why is this working?"
His hands are a bit muted.
As long as there's technical difficulty during the sound checks, there'll be, like, I think, some form of stress. But that's the thing, as soon as we start playing,
as soon as that first riff kicks in,
I think
it's like every stress you've ever had just melted away.
We don't take each other seriously, like, in terms of, like, we just like having fun. So as I said, if somebody messes up, it's not like instantly, bro, there's a whole audience. You just go,
fuck you.
Just carry on, dude. Just carry on.
Just pretend it was meant to happen and move on.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell them that was meant to happen. Are you planning any specific stage productions? Any atmospheres that you're going for with your live set?
I think I mentioned before we've got, like, the kind of theme now on stage. We've got our banners, so there's, like, with our logo, and they're all black and red. So we'll try and wear black and red.
I think as
clothing.
well. I was talking to Nick. We want to get some sort of we want to, like, bring our own lights, like, not like anything mental, but just something that will just add a little bit more to the sort of stage.
Yeah.
Because obviously, because we're not, like, at the point of we've got our own lighting tech and sound tech, so we can't have it exactly how we want it, because some venues might not have the lights we want. So if we bring sort of our own sort of, like, light bars or anything, it will sort of
Adds another dimension,
makes us
yeah.
look a little bit different from all the other bands that we play with. So.
And as well, with going back to songs and how we're sort of sticking out with them live, the intros as well specifically. We see a lot of bands going for, like, these big epic intros that sort of get you moving on your feet, like, oh, they're about to come on. We sort of, because I'm a big fan of those intros, but we sort of saw everyone's doing them, and we wanted to take an inverse sort of direction of that. So a lot of our intro tracks sort of a bit anxiety inducing. They're like they sort of hit you really hard because it's like they're war themed, and you have sound effects of bombs going off, children crying. So it's just sort of that. It's very real, and
It's quite
so, like, we were talking about how we want to bring reality to light through our music. Like, we were talking about the title Merry Doomsday, how it gets people thinking. That sort of sound on stage with this sort of tension and that anxiety inducing sound that can definitely work to get people thinking, bring stuff to light as well. It's very much raw emotion. It makes it very real.
I think one thing for me, actually, going off on that, was everyone's obviously got their own opinions. Everyone likes their own different kinds of music, which is, I respect that fully. Not everyone has to like the same thing. But, like, no, but for, like, me personally, I think, for example, one thing, especially with mainstream music today that's played on radios, I get it, people will write, they can write songs about whatever they want. But personally, I just think And I think especially since I've started, obviously, since we've started as a band and everything, even especially like when I watch films now that I've started taking acting, but like I'll listen to something almost with like more like an analytical ear. I'd like it to be musically interesting, or I'd like it to have some depth or meaning to it. And I feel like so much music nowadays, it's almost like a distraction because it's like, oh, I broke it with my ex, la 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 la.
Yeah.
Or
So that's
yeah.
what pissed us off a lot. That's going back a million years to a question you asked us earlier about sort of what feeling brought this album into sort of reality for us, and that definitely that being angry with just these big artists. They have a platform to speak up. They could do something with their voice, but they don't, and that's what angers us. So it makes us want us to speak up and do what so many fail at.
And that's what made me fall in love with metal in the first place, was just the range of emotions that it had. And of course, I mean, being an actor, you always want to have as well a certain impact on your audience, depending on the character you play or what's the piece. And the thing is, all theatre is political as well. Even if it's a comedy, there will be a message behind it. And I think with music as well, it's such I think arguably the best form of expression. And as I said, there's just so many emotions behind it that that you can like convey. And you've always had obviously that shock value. I mean, in the 80s, it was all the the pentagrams, and it all had all the conservative parents going, my child mustn't listen to this. But I think that's what also made it, that's what made it so good. I love
secretly
that
they
value.
do listen to it. They're consumed by the evilness of metal.
It's so good, and I love that whole like the whole imagery of it, and the fact that it would make people think as well as shock people, because then you've got someone. Same thing as like through the lyrics, or if it's like with like that soundtrack, the intro that we have, which has like either cannon fire or children screaming. Like, yes, it can be, obviously it doesn't have images, so it's not visceral, but somebody will listen and they'll think, oh god, that that can be quite. The thing is, that's what's happening in the real world. We don't like to sugarcoat.
Yeah, I was just about to say, we don't like to sugarcoat things. We don't like to paint over things. We want to show what's really going on.
Yeah, that's the whole purpose of expressing the emotion or like a message through music.
So before we move into some quick fires, guys, what is next for Sanguis Mortem?
We've got a lot of gigs, a lot of gigs, a lot of tours. We're going on tour in July with Swiss thrash metal band called Zona. It's their debut UK tour, so we're well chuffed to be supporting them on that. That's going to be ridiculously cool. We've got a couple festivals. We've got Slayfest up in Norwich at the Brickmakers, Thrash Chester, like we briefly mentioned earlier, up at Rebellion in Manchester. And yeah, it's just a jam-packed year. We've got our first.
He's not coming further north.
No, we'd like to at some point. Though.
Everyone forgets about us in Newcastle. Just a little bit, just 3 hours up the road from Manchester.
Slightly further north.
Slightly further north, but we'd like to get to Newcastle at some point. We've actually been eyeing it up for a while, so I'm sure we'll get there at some point.
I mean, another promoter for Get Heavy Festival. I'm just saying.
Yeah, we'd love to come down to Get Heavy Festival. It's awesome stuff as well. The cool lineup as well you guys have got this year with the Bangover headliners. Am I right?
They're not. They're part of the lineup. Fetal Juice is our headliner for Saturday.
Awesome.
As well, we're still in the process of finding our final headliner for Sunday. At this moment in time, but the lineup's pretty much booked in.
Yeah, we can see the lineup shaping up real well.
We just need our final headliner, and then we can announce the rest of the bands.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, but we've got our first sort of headline run of shows as well. It's not so much a coherent run, but we've got one in April now, then one in September, one in October. Those are our sort of first UK proper headliners. We've got one at the Dev in Camden in London, and then Pier Hat in Manchester, and then down the hometown show over here at the Bear Cave in Bournemouth, which we're very excited for as well.
Lots to be excited for 2026.
A lot.
We've even got like nothing's set in stone. We've already started. I think even before the recording process. We sort of started drafting. We've already started drafting stuff for the second album, musical ideas and so on. So
always good to Plan ahead. Always good to plan ahead. So before we do end, a couple of quick fires, guys. And of course, as we've already touched on there briefly, I am from Newcastle upon Tyne. And we ask everyone this question: what is your Greg's orders, guys?
Oh yes.
No.
Fuck no. I think that's the most excited I've ever seen anyone on the Get Heavy podcast was fucking get in, Greg's.
Come here, Greg.
For me, it has to be the pepperoni pizza or a sausage roll. Both of them. Yeah, they're my favourite.
I'm going plain and simple, just the classic pepperoni pizza. You can't go wrong. That got me through recording. Just when you said the classic, I thought you were going to go on sausage roll. I was like, immediately when you think of Greg's, you go. Yeah, the sausage roll
I'll
is the
go for the
classic.
classic. I'll go for the sausage roll.
Yeah.
We're
I need
boring.
to have
You're
more
going
Greg's. I don't know the last time I had it. I'm sorry.
I'm about to drop a significant bombshell.
Let me guess.
Oh,
Doesn't
no.
like it.
I've never been to Greg's.
What?
Show
You
them.
get out, you're fired.
I've been there once.
Right. Well,
It was very, very quick, and I needed a glass. I needed some water.
I'm hitting stop record right now. I'm sorry, but we're gonna have to cancel Sanguis.
What is it? The Pret Mon Cher?
No,
like
I've never said it was bad.
vegan
I've just said I've
shops.
never eaten now. I've never actually had the chance.
So for anyone watching, we need a new singer.
Aye, they're taking applications.
Yeah.
Currently, I am the one must like Greg's.
Fucking cancelled, lads. Definitely not. Yeah, there's a border, right? When you reach Sunderland, you're not allowed past it. Can I come into Newcastle if you don't like Greg's?
We're back.
I apologise to the drummer. I apologise in advance. But if you had to replace the drummer with a household appliance, which one gets the job?
No.
No, you can't replace the drummer.
The boiler.
Yeah.
Oh, boiler.
Whoa.
I think we're seeing the demise of Sanguis Mortem.
You said about
Gonna fucking boil you.
I don't know. Well, I can't really say anything, can I? Because I'm being replaced.
I have words with you after this interview.
I'm the scrapyard side of Greg's after this.
You'd be a fridge that with the door left open with a constant
Well, like a really
beeping.
stinky fridge.
No, with the door left open because it'd be constantly beeping and you'd just be like, shut the fuck up.
Oh, the fridge.
Yeah.
The fridge would be that metronome that doesn't
Fridge
turn off.
thing.
Yeah, that exactly. It's all gone quiet.
Sorry.
Awkward.
I'm giving up. It's
now,
like,
guys. I'm sorry.
Oh, these questions do get a bit bizarre and weird, man. I'm just
We're used to last in.
coming. So, which song on Merry Doomsday would you use to communicate with aliens?
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, there's got to be a good one.
I think one of the intros, Rising
What about-
Tides of Aggression, would be
what
a
about
good one.
it's not really a song, but
What about Divinity? Because it's kind of...
What, the anti-religion one?
Yeah, it's just don't do this.
That's like a guidebook.
Yeah. To be fair, Merry Doomsday's like...
It's like,
It's like
Merry Doomsday's like telling them, don't come here.
Yeah.
Nothing good will come from you getting here.
You might as well stay away.
Nothing good here.
No. Let us come to their planet.
Hydra, so then they know who to shoot first.
maybe imbalance because it would confuse them. They'd have a whole song with a message, and then the song at the very end ends with a little Jamaican riff. They'd be like, "Huh?"
Yeah, they'd be like, what?
Yeah, we go into a little like reggae section at the end of that.
Actually, I'm trying to think what would actually be a solid one.
Ooh, communicate with aliens.
I think it is just Merry Doomsday.
It's just
Yeah, go Merry Doomsday. Yeah.
Who during sound checking is most likely to accidentally raise the devil?
Nick.
And if I can't find my loops, my earplugs, the devil, he's coming through the door, and that's the last you'll see of anyone in
It
that
does
room.
get quite scary when we are trying to like all set up, and then all of a sudden there's a teenage angry Polish person in the corner, and then all of a sudden the Polish dad comes from nowhere.
My
And
dad.
they're both like at each other because there's something going on. And we're
Why
like,
did you put the earplugs?
I'm like turning around to Ollie going, what the hell is going on? We don't know what's going on
I just
either.
want to get involved.
Because they're talking in Polish. You're like, what is actually happening? What's going on?
Final one, guys. It's
That's
final one that ended. And I feel this is probably going to be the best one, to be fair. But if you had to describe the album Merry Doomsday using only noises, what's the first sound that comes to mind?
Right. We're gonna go like angry, then melodic, then angry again, yeah? Ready? Ready?
Go on.
3, 2, 1.
something like.
No, that was the take time.
That
You
is
don't get
best
another
thing
shot.
No, it's sort of like,
Yeah, you
Oh,
want
it's
it.
exactly.
Guys, thank you so much for your time tonight. Tell the people where they can find you on social media.
You can find us on Instagram or on TikTok or Facebook under Sanguis Mortem Official.
Spotify. Yeah,
Or
Spotify.
Spotify, YouTube, all the streaming platforms. We're everywhere.
Thank you so much for your time, guys. Hopefully I'll see you down the road sometime soon. But before we do, I will leave you with our Get Heavy creed, which is the rules of the pit or the rules for life. When someone falls, we pick them up. Cheers very much for the time, guys.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.